The Pimax Dream Air. It's been a while since I've shown this on the channel and talked about it. There's a reason for that, and I'm going to explain in this video why. And what it's like to live with for over 2 months. This is the kind of information you're just not going to get from many other YouTubers or even consumers right now, because at the moment they're still delivering these headsets. So the Dream Air, well, I've done a full review, so I'm not going to go too deep into the specification and all the other stuff because I've already done it, but I will quickly say that the resolution is 3840 by 3552 per eye. It has Sony Micro OLED visuals with a refresh rate of 72 and 90 Hz. It weighs around 170 grams, give or take, without a strap. And my field of view figures, well, at the moment, because obviously they are different profiles incoming, although I've yet to see them, is 108 degrees horizontal and 89 vertical, with a binocular overlap of 83%, I think, somewhere around there anyway. And one of the big deals about this headset is its lenses with the new concave view optics, which are really fantastic and have a great sweet spot. So as we enjoy some beautiful B-roll flying the Carenado bizjet in the Dream Air, let's just talk about some of the main features here. So let's not muck about. These are the absolute best VR visuals on the market today. The Sony 4K Micro OLED display means that you get no interruptions, no imperfections, no dead pixels. It's a beautiful, crisp and clear image. The absolute best in VR, without a question, without a shadow of a doubt. And I've said that from day one, still mean it now. It is absolutely beautiful in this thing. The rich OLED colours, the sharpness, combined with those beautiful concave view optics, are a match made in heaven. Nothing comes close. Well done, Pimax. It is superb. I can't say it enough, as you probably noticed. So it makes it even more frustrating then that there are some problems with this headset. So make sure you watch the full video, because some of these problems are fixable while others are a lot more serious. So let's start with the first one that I've always had an issue with. The comfort of this headset, even though it's extremely light, is just not there for me, especially the facial interface, which really does bite your forehead so badly that you'll have a massive deep red mark after only around half an hour to 45 minutes. Now thankfully there are some options out there, including Pimax's own new facial interface, which they're going to be rolling out to all Dream Air owners soon. But I'm glad to say we live in a world of 3D printers, and a massive shout out to the community and especially Z Flyboy for sending over this fantastic gasket, which has alleviated the comfort for me. It's going to be really interesting to see how this compares to the official Studioform kit, which I've now got in my hands. Here it is. And I've done a 2-hour test, and I'm going to give you my verdict on whether this has actually solved the comfort and how it compares to the free 3D printed options from the community. But before that, I have to say, we shouldn't have to do any of this with a $2,000 headset. So I really hope that the official Pimax facial interface will resolve this issue once and for all. However, as I've said, I've now got the Studioform facial gasket and foam kit, and I'm going to show you some shots now of what it looks like. They've also included a nice slit where the USB port is, very useful for me, as you can see, because I've also modded my Dream Air so that I can use the Vive Deluxe audio strap. Again, thank you to Z Flyboy and the community as a whole for producing these amazing 3D printed accessories completely free of charge. Anyway, I digress. So let's get back to looking at this facial gasket. Now, Studioform have been working on this for some time, and I have to say, on first glance, it feels pretty good. It slots onto the headset, although please be careful because the plastic housing of the Dream Air isn't really that strong. More on that later. So just be careful when you slot it into place, but I must admit it's a nice snug fit. It ain't going anywhere. But what is it really like in practice? Well, I'm glad to say it makes a huge difference to me, and the comfort, well, it's not an issue anymore. Even with the soft strap, it really is absolutely a massive difference, especially with the wealth of options you have with the foams. You have fabric and leather with a variety of different thicknesses, so you can get the best field of view. For me, I found that the middle fabric foam was best, and I could max out that field of view as much as possible. I also love how there's a larger gap with your nose, which does get you closer to the lenses without actually touching them. The whole thing feels fabulous, especially after a 2-hour test. Typically, I did record some B-roll, but it didn't come out very well, so you'll have to just do with the B-roll I've shown with the original face gasket. But it's a night and day difference. A massive congratulations to Davo. As always, he does a great job, and I do have a very nice 5% discount code if you want to grab a comfort kit for your Dream Air. As you can see, a top strap is also available. For some people, this might be overkill, but for me, it really does finish off the comfort. Again, you have options for PU leather and fabric. I've gone for leather in this case because it really helps keep the headset completely in position at all times. So there you have it. The first problem I had with the Dream Air has now been solved. And the way I see it, you have 3 options right now in terms of the comfort. Either wait for the official new facial interface from Pimax, which hopefully will solve the problems anyway. You could go the 3D printed route if you don't mind DIY, which personally I can't stand and hate faff. Or you could just pop over to the Studioform website, grab a nice discount and have this sent to you in a few days, which again is very, very good and alleviates the comfort issues. But I will say one more time, I know I've said this already, this is ridiculous to even have to go through all this when you've already bought a headset that's over $2,000. But this isn't just a thing with Pimax. I've had lots of VR headsets now, really expensive ones, even some that are $4,500 that are still uncomfortable. For some reason, VR manufacturers just seem to struggle to get this right. But it does prove though that light form factor VR headsets are not necessarily comfortable. Just keep that in mind. So that's one of the first problems that I've had with the headset over the couple of months I've owned it so far. But there are some more bigger ones that I am really concerned about. And that is some of the units, in fact many of them, are starting to show cracking with the plastic housing where the facial interface joins onto the headset. Now in my review I was very concerned and critical about the plastics and how they felt quite brittle, especially for a high-end headset. Some of you actually said that this was too harsh. Well, I'm sorry to say, I kind of told you so. This is an issue. I'll show you some photos now of some of the community, including my own, which is starting to show lines and little tiny cracks in the design of the headset. Now again, Pimax are now aware of this, but I'm not aware if they are going to change this anytime soon. I really hope this isn't a massive deal breaker for the headset, because this could be game over and cost them so much money in replacing these parts of the headset. Now let's talk about a few good things about the headset before my final massive gripe, and that is the software, the usability, the reliability of the headset turning on every time and not having any issues in that regard are all where they need to be. This is a absolutely fabulous VR headset and has massive potential to completely blow apart all of the VR headsets on the market, especially the high end. This could be the absolute winner for 2026. But it won't be right now because of the issues I'm talking about. Now in case you're wondering, the particular Dream Air I'm using and talking about today is the Lighthouse version. I will be receiving the Slam version in due course, probably in the next couple of weeks actually. I'll be testing out the tracking since that's the main difference and just seeing if any changes have been made to the build quality of that headset since it is a newer release. But I will say that the Lighthouse version particularly is absolutely fantastic with tracking, as you would expect. It is worth bearing in mind as well that with the Slam version, if you haven't pre-ordered already, you won't be receiving the ringless controllers anymore. That's going to be an upgraded cost. Same goes for the 3D strap. that will now be an extra cost unless you pre-ordered already. And unfortunately that brings about another gripe of the headset, and that is Pimax keep moving the goalposts. They literally have in their hands the best visuals, the best headset that we've ever seen, but they seem to want to completely shoot themselves in the foot by releasing it far too early. And let's just talk about the last bugbear of mine, because as you can see here, there's quite a few, and that is the splitter box. When I first tried the pre-production Dream Air, it had one cable going out of one side of the headset, which you could quite happily just clip onto the side of the arm. Job done, felt absolutely fine. But for the release version, they decided to go for two cables going out of either end of the headset, which in theory makes it more balanced. But the trouble is, there is now a splitter box that gets very hot, and in my opinion also gets tangled up, especially when you're seated. I really don't understand the conversation Pimax must have had in order to think this is a good idea, but it's not. It's a stupid idea. In fact, it's one of the most stupid design decisions I've ever seen in all the years I've been doing this VR thing. Pimax, please send out new cables to all Pimax users once you've sorted this out. If you're even sorting this out. I don't know if you are, but please, for the love of God, change this. I know it's going to mean even more cost for you, but that's the trouble. When you quickly design things and not thoroughly test them, it's going to mean more money is lost in the long term. Oh my goodness me. Anyway, with all that being said, if those three things get sorted out, and two of them are not serious because you can change the cable and you can change the facial interface, but I'm not quite sure about the frontal housing, that could be more of a serious issue. But if these things get resolved, this will be easily the very best high-end VR headset on the market for a long time to come. The visuals are simply stunning, and when you put the headset on and you enjoy a flight like I'm doing right now, all those issues tend to fade away and you get lost in a virtual world which looks better than it ever has before. It is absolutely sensational, and it's why I find this headset so frustrating, because it's so close to being a groundbreaking high-end VR headset. Why do we have to deal with these silly problems that should have been caught during the pre-production phase? I just don't understand it. And I will just say, as we come into land at Cardiff, that nothing comes close to this headset. The Big Screen Beyond and the Megan X all are inferior to these displays and this pancake lens design. It is a wonderful place to be, especially with the eye tracking, which also works seamlessly. That's my updated thoughts on the Pimax Dream Air. I have been rather critical, but that's what you expect from this channel. The full picture, the full story. And unfortunately, there are some real niggles out there that need to be addressed. If they do, like I say, nothing comes close to this headset. Please let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Feel free to subscribe, and I'll see you again very soon. Take care, and bye for now.